Welcome to No Rules Review with your host, Ethan Millay.
Hey there everybody, Ethan Millay here with another No Rules Review. Today we're going to be looking at Splotter's Antiquity, 1050 to 1620. Yeah, it's one of their big, epic, big box games. This is just the lid. I'm not lifting the whole game. I can lift it, but I'm afraid it'll spill out. Antiquity finds 1 to 4 players taking on the roles of either the heads of or the physical manifestation of cities in Italy during the time period over which the game is set. So, late Middle Ages to early Renaissance. And you're basically just trying to survive. Because this game is known for one thing mainly, and that is that the game hates you. The game is trying to kill you constantly. Your city, because it's full of filthy, filthy humans, pollutes every round, and this sort of makes it almost feel like a modern game. As your city pollutes, you do what any rational human being would do. You put the pollution in a river, or in the woods, or you tuck it behind a mountain, and you just hope everything's going to be okay. Problem is, it's not. The pollution builds up more and more every round, and it begins to slowly choke your city. So, you and your citizens, realizing that your pollution has had such a serious consequence on yourselves and the nature around you, you try to run away. You try to run away and get away from the pollution, because the pollution just keeps mounting. And as the pollution mounts, it begins to kill your people. And as your people die, your city becomes less productive. You can do less with more issues, and it's just a downhill spiral. It's almost like the city of Detroit, unfortunately. You're fighting, and you're just trying to do more and more with less and less as things get tougher and tougher for you. So, that's the premise of Antiquity. Now, what makes it a great game? You set your own victory conditions in this game. You, at some point, are going to build a church, a cathedral. And when you build a cathedral, you pick which patron saint you're going to dedicate that cathedral to. You have, let's see if I can remember this, Saint Nicholas, which means you have to have all 20 people out. You can get more people as the game progresses. Saint George, which means you want to basically conquer everybody else's stuff. And Saint something. No, that's the German side. My patron saints. Who are my patron saints? Saint Nicholas, 20 people. Saint Barbara, all the buildings completed. Saint Christopher wants 3 of each food and luxury. You'll get these goods. Saint George wins by conquering at least one other player. And you can also pick Saint Mary. Now, Saint Mary lets you have to have 2 of those victory conditions met. And you say, why would I ever do that? Well, each one of those 4 saints before Saint Mary, when you pick them as your patron saint, you get to break the rules in a unique way. Saint Mary lets you break the rules in all the ways, but you got to have 2 of those victory conditions met to win the game. So you got to decide as a player, which one of the 4 patron saints, well really 5, do I want to pick? Do I want to be super powered, but then I got to do twice as much as anybody else? So you pick your own victory conditions, and you got to decide that based on your situation, what other players are doing, and where you are when you finally build that cathedral. Now, another really neat thing about this game is this is your player aid and your player board. Everything you need to know to play the game is printed right here, and this is your city. And you say, well, that looks like a grid. Yeah, you play a game of Tetris. When you build buildings, you have to fit them in that city, hopefully as efficiently as possible. So you might find as you build a city that, crap, I'm out of room. Well, you just build another city. And then you can build buildings in that one too. So it's neat. You're building within your city. You are assigning people as efficiently as possible, and you're also playing out on the main board. And the main board is made up of these tiles, which I think they look really nice. They're sort of washed out, but I think it fits the theme. And you have, forests, and you have mountains, and you have rivers, and that's where you're going to get those resources we talked about earlier. You get lumber from the forest, you get gold or stone from the mountains, and you get fish or ink from the water. Remember how I mentioned pollution? Yeah, harvesting those resources generates pollution. Oh, and when you cut down trees, they don't grow back. So you can begin to deforest the area around your city, pollute its lakes, pollute its fields, pollute its mountains, and then you gotta move. So you just have this specter of death looming over your shoulder the entire game, and you're trying your best to survive it. Now, there are buildings that will let you manage pollution. There are buildings that let you ship pollution off into another player's area. And it can be very important in this game about where your area of control is, because you can only pollute within your area of control. You're very polite like that. So if you can get up next to somebody and you share area of control, you can just start polluting where they are. So you're trying not to die, you're trying to do better than what other people do, and you're picking your own victory conditions. This is a great Civilization game in a box. Now, it's big, it's long, it can play up to 4 players, and really, there's not so much of a difference because these player sheets, when you assign workers, you all do that at the same time. And then you take actions on that main board. But those actions on the main board, half the game don't matter because you're not near each other. It's only in the late game when you get near each other that you gotta worry. And each one of those patron saints really requires you to act very differently. You know, St. Nicholas, you really don't care so much about spreading out. You just want to be able to get it's 30 people. You want to get 30 people out onto the board. I'm sorry, no, it is 20 people. 20 people out onto the board, so you're really focused on building houses and keeping yourselves alive. St. Barbara, you got to build every building. You're going to have to build multiple cities for that. St. Christopher, you're out on the board trying to gather resources in a sustainable manner. St. George, you're coming after people. And the thing is, the map doesn't get bigger, so St. George can sort of be scary to play against because that player, if you're the one they're coming after, they rush at you, and you're trying desperately not to get surrounded because they got to get all of you in their zone of control. And then obviously St. Mary is super powered, but she's got to do 2 of those things at once. It's a great game. I have only begun to scratch the surface. There's so much in this. There's a reason why people usually put Roads and Boats and Antiquity as the 2 big Splotter games that people think of and people look for. This one's currently out of print. It's been a while since they reprinted it. It's probably due to go back into print eventually. You can get it for moderately high prices, though, I mean, most of the games that are sitting on your shelves right now, if you sold 2 or 3 of them, you could get Antiquity, and this is 2 or 3 or more games worth of experience. I love Antiquity. Doing this review has made me want to sit down and play it again with people. I'll have to see if I can find somebody to play with me, because this is a great, great Civilization game. This has been Ethan Millay with No Rule Reviews. If you like what you see, share, like, subscribe, comment below. It's all great, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye now.
This has been another No Rules review by Ethan Millay. If you enjoyed this video, consider sharing, commenting, liking, and most importantly, subscribing. For this and other great games, join us over on BoardGameGeek.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.